Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel's Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
Hello and welcome everybody to getting started with the Deathwatch and maybe learning a little bit about how to beat them too. I do not know what the fuck, and hair products, and maybe building computers. I do not know what the fuck I'm doing. This is not a competitive guide in the slightest. I've been reading the book. I've gotten to know it a little bit. It's been provided by one of our Patreon backers. Thanks very much. Cheers. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get around to reading this and figuring it all out, because honestly it just looked like a head fuck, and then just something clicked after Tony bugged the crap out of me to actually pay attention to it and read it, which I really should have done sooner.
It's super cool.
It is, and the kill teams are great, and the combinations on it just blow my mind, or the potential combinations. But anyway, we can get into that sort of stuff.
I want to run it for boarding action.
Oh yeah,
it's got boarding action written all over it.
Oh yeah. The heavy thunderhammers are great. Yeah. Oh shit! I didn't put the heavy thunderhammers in here. Heavy thunderhammers can be taken by Deathwatch and no other army, and the thunderhammers are AP -3 and damage 4. So they're just better thunderhammers.
Are they expensive in Arts of Omen, or do you not know?
Not massively.
No.
A little bit, but not massively. Only a few units can take them. Only a really, really very few.
Okay, but if it has hammer, it has hammer.
It's true. It's true. And I actually did a Deathwatch list in the little boarding actions lists video that John and I did last week.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Yeah. And I think there was a heavy thunderhammer in there. So yeah.
So if you want to see a boarding action list for Deathwatch, check out the video last week.
Yeah, exactly.
That I haven't seen yet.
Exactly. What are the Deathwatch? Deathwatch are Space Marines. Deathwatch get almost everything in the Space Marines Codex. There's a few things they don't get. They do not get the Chapter Master upgrades because they have their own special Chapter Masters in the supplement. They're called Watchmasters, so they don't get to use the Chapter Master upgrades. They also don't get to use the following units from the basic Space Marine Codex. They don't get to use Assault Squad.
Okay.
They don't get to use Attack Bikes. They don't get to use normal Firstborn Bikes. They don't get to use Devastators. They don't get to use Stern Guards. They don't get to use Firstborn Tacticals, and they don't get to use Scouts. They don't get to use any of the boring Firstborn stuff, basically, is what it is.
Okay.
Oh, go on. What's that? What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking Mad Jack from Papworth Brewery, which is apparently a full-bodied English bitter, so we're going to find out that. But I'm quite tired, so this might be enough. This will tip me over.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm drinking the honey cider again because I really love this stuff.
Okay.
What? I've got cans of it. It's in the fridge. Are you still off alcohol?
I mean, look, I've got like full range of emotion back to.
When was the last time you had a drink?
With you guys at Christmas. Oh, well, no, I had a beer with you guys like a week or two ago, didn't I, on stream?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. I've got my final doctor's appointment in like 2 weeks' time, and I think they're going to say that I can drive again, so that's going to be nice. And
you looking forward to it, or are you looking forward to going and getting roused?
I bought a new skateboard.
Oh, fuck!
It came today. Let's get it.
What's wrong with the old skateboard that tried to kill you?
Is it rocket powered? Does it float?
This one is not a rocket powered skateboard, but it is cool. It was January sale, man.
If you want to go and get and show off your skateboard, you can do so in Pile of Glory, mate.
Okay.
And you're going to get both skateboards, so you put one foot on each one, and then use like the little joysticks to have like roller
no, this isn't an electric one. This is
you could use it like steering.
just don't fall off it on the way and break your arm, because that would be really embarrassing.
So hang on. So you've bought a regular skateboard?
Yes.
How many skateboards do you own?
Can you ride a regular skateboard?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't ridden.
Because I had one when I was 14.
Evidence would suggest otherwise.
Well, I figured until I feel a little bit more confident, maybe I should be using a regular skateboard because it might not be quite as fast as the electric one. I might build up my confidence again. I mean, it was pretty traumatic. Probably not. I'm just going to go to work.
on a skateboard.
There's a lot of hills to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of my students come to school on skateboards.
My wife needs a
But
car,
others
dude.
are like,
I,
we're
I,
too old.
I live like 1.6 miles away. It's like a 40-minute walk. So
Buy
it's like
a bicycle like a normal human.
a lot of people at my work have a bicycle, but I like skateboards.
That's because they're
man.
normal humans.
I don't know.
Fucking skating to work. Jesus Christ.
Once- yeah, moving on.
Deathwatch are
Stop it and
also
ollie.
Deathwatch are also essentially sort of like special forces badass space marines with super ammunition that does all sorts of different things.
Hang on. I
Chosen
bet you've got a
of the
backpack and a
chosen.
hat as well, haven't you?
I do, yes.
Fucking do it.
Is it a
my
baseball
laptop
cap?
in the back.
Do you wear your baseball cap forward with the peak goes there, or do you wear it so the peak goes
No, he's still
behind
got
you
the
like
sticker on his
one of
baseball
the cool
cap.
kids?
Well, I actually have a
It's like we
helmet.
can't peel it off, it loses its value.
Okay.
Are we done now, Tony?
No. Oh, not even close.
I mean, you've seen Back to the Future. Skateboarding is cool.
In
Yeah,
the
when you're
80s.
17.
Yeah, when I was
In
17.
the 80s. And you're wearing a shell suit. Have you got a shell suit as well?
Right, so Deathwatch
Okay.
are the chosen men, special forces of the Space Marines. They're made up of all veterans. They don't have any regular guys. Every Space Marine in the Deathwatch is a veteran Space Marine, so they know their shit, they fight hard, and they get chosen or told to fuck off by their own chapter, or they decide to leave their own chapter because they're all treacherous bitches, and they don't want to be traitors anymore. So yeah, that's what the Deathwatch all are.
So can you get requisitioned by the Deathwatch? Random lore
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, in
Is
law,
that how it
absolutely.
works?
You can get requisitioned, or your chapter gets asked if they want to submit or send like candidates off to them, or if
Isn't there
you're
like a tithe or something like that where they
Yeah,
have to
there's-
send so many?
there's a number of different ways. There's also Deathwatch who are called Black Shields, who don't wear any chapter insignia, and they don't want to admit what their chapter was because they're all nasty or filthy or just dead or something.
Or Dark Angels.
Or Dark Angels. It's entirely possible. The purpose of the Deathwatch... Oh, yeah, go on.
And by saying are they all veterans, does that mean they all have like +1 attacks, or what does that actually equate to
No.
in rules? No.
Honestly, don't... Let's have a look.
Because they can weirdly take regular intercessors, can't they?
What I was going
They
to say is if
can.
they take a squad of like Phobos
And I'm
Marines,
sure
they just have the
they've
same
got
number of
intercessors.
attacks, even though they're all veterans.
So
Technically.
their basic firstborn unit is the Deathwatch veteran, who all have base of 2 attacks, and the sergeant has 3.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
they've
but
all
I
got-
guess it breaks a little
So-
bit if you took a
yeah.
unit of like assault
Basically,
Basically, if you
Yeah.
take like the proper Deathwatch units out of the Deathwatch book, then yes, they've got the extra attack. If you take one of the randomly allowed normal Space Marine units, then they don't.
Which is most of them. Then, yeah. In
Okay.
theory, they're all veterans, at least in terms of fluff. In practice, they don't upgrade any of the units from the Codex Space Marines. So you just take them as is.
Okay,
Well,
makes
like,
sense.
you can make a pretty good army just bringing these guys, and I think
Oh, yeah.
it looks better if you do.
Absolutely, you totally can. And then you get to
Okay.
put the sort of silver shoulder pad on with the Deathwatch logo on and
Yeah.
all that kind of jazz. The purpose of the Deathwatch is that they were formed to kill aliens. Basic Space Marines kill anything. Grey Knights are anti-demons and warp stuff. Deathwatch were formed to kill aliens because there was a big orc invasion 1,000 years or 2 after the Horus Heresy. And it was a massive problem. It was a big, like, 12 novel saga called The Beast Arises, where Vulcan turns up and does nothing. And in the end of it, the Deathwatch are formed to fight back this colossal orc invasion, which involves like giant orc asteroids besieging Terra. They get that far.
Okay.
And then the Deathwatch like solve everything.
So 2 questions. I thought Vulcan died in the heart of a Gargant fighting the beast himself, didn't he?
Like Vulcan dies a lot of times.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. I thought that was the finale.
He might have been. I haven't read it. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I've read because it's written by like 12 different authors.
Oh no,
I did-
it's like
I
the
did-
Horus Heresy. They're really
Yeah,
up
I
and
didn't want
down.
to start it and then get stuck with it and then go, oh, this author's shit. I'm gonna have to slog through
A
this.
lot.
book.
If I'm honest, a lot of them have been a bit shit. I haven't finished the whole. I've missed a couple of them out because you're reading it and just like I'm not
Yeah.
enjoying this. I'm reading it because I have it.
Yeah.
And I've started it.
And you want to see the finish and you want to see it through. Yeah.
So I'll admit
So I've
that
read
sort of
summaries
skimmed a
on
few of
like
them.
wikis and lexicanums and all that sort of stuff, which is cool.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. I had a joke about LV426, but I've lost it.
Deathwatch are an incredibly flexible army. They can do so many different things. They can have loads and loads of little tricks to give them bonuses against this unit or this role and that role, and they can focus it and tailor it based on what they're facing at any given point. They can be like the Swiss Army knife of armies. It's really, really good in that regard.
So would you say they were ultimate badasses?
They're close. They're not ultimate badasses, but they're certainly close. Does bring with it a complication, however. They've got so much complicated bullshit to remember in terms of all the special rules they can access through their stratagems and the various rules and the complications and the combinations and how they all link in and synergize together. It kind of blows your mind a bit, to be honest.
I'd just nuke it from orbit.
Only way to be sure. It's fair. I'll give you that. So that's kind of an overview on what the Deathwatch is as an army. Again, this is not a full competitive overview. This is stuff that I've taken from it as a how to get started with Deathwatch, who they are, and the sort of things that they can do, and the sort of things you might want to be aware of, and how they could play. Some of the pieces of filth they can bring to the table. Their chapter tactic is at the start of the game, you pick a battlefield role. Troops, HQ, elites, heavy, any of that shit. And your entire army re-rolls 1s to wound against that battlefield role for the game.
That sounds pretty cool.
And there are stratagems that allow you to change it or add an extra roll. And there's little abilities that can tweak and change that. You can make it so that your kill teams can specialize in a different role or get extra bonuses against one particular role that they're really good at killing. It's fairly tasty, but the fact that you get to choose this stuff at the start of the game once you know what you're facing is obviously very powerful.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I was just thinking, because I've played against this a few times, and you can sort of see my opponent's face, and they're looking at my army going, you've got a lot of elites.
Which one do I want to kill first?
As they alter their army to be better at killing yours.
The other part of their chapter tactic is less useful, which is if you're fighting a Xenos army, then you get re-roll 1s to hit against them in melee.
It's not useless. It's just
it's not useless, but it's not where you come to the game, really, is it? Doctrines. Deathwatch get what doctrine they want when they want it.
Well, that's very cool.
That simple. The limitation is they can only be in Devastator Doctrine once during the game, Tactical Doctrine twice during the game, and Assault Doctrine 3 times during the game. But they get to choose on a turn-by-turn basis which doctrine they're going to be in for that battle round.
And how does that work with the changes to the doctrines?
No changes whatsoever.
Okay.
It's mildly now broken.
It's not broken. It's just that the changes that affected the rest of the Space Marine armies have not affected Deathwatch in the slightest.
I see.
The rules stands as written.
Okay.
So you can't stay in Devastator the entire game as you can with some other armies, but you do get to do this one. However,
you probably don't want to be honest.
If Deathwatch have a lot of options. I might have mentioned this before. One of the options they can do is they can take Warlord traits from other chapters, including the Dark Angel one that allows them to like roll back their chapter their doctrine 1 step.
Oh, really?
So that's the Dark Angel one, I think, out of the main book. So they get to fuck around all sorts of ways with doctrines.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that. Cool.
Kill teams are all troops, and kill teams are incredibly flexible. And they require you to take 5 of a basic type of model, whether it's Firstborn Deathwatch veterans, or intercessors and assault intercessors in the 2nd type, or heavy intercessors in the 3rd type, which is your Gravis kill team, and then infiltrators and incursors in your 4th type, which is your Phobos kill team. And what that does is it means you can take an extra 5 models in that squad, which are these. And they can be troops because they're part of the kill team. So you can have troops Terminators, troops Firstborn Bikers, troops Vanguard Vets, Outriders, Hellblasters, Aggressors, Inceptors, Eradicators as troops, Reavers if you're really, really felt like it, and Eliminators as troops.
Actually, seems really interesting.
And that comes in a unit of 5 to 10. So what you do is you take a unit of the principle works is you take a unit of, if we're looking at the first kill team, take a unit of 5 firstborn Deathwatch veterans. You add in 5 Deathwatch veteran Terminators. You then combat squad it into regular Marines and Terminators, and you've got a unit of 5 troop Terminators running around the board. All of them have got Thunderhammer and Storm Shield, and 3 of them have got Cyclone missile launchers on top.
That's very cool, isn't it?
You can have a unit of 5 OBSEC Outriders as troops driving around. And think about it. If you had the points and you were running Arcs of Omen, you could run, 12 troops slots in that?
Yeah, you can run.
So you could have 12 units of OBSEC Eradicators. 12 units of 5 OBSEC Eradicators running around.
You would have to pad that unit with 5 heavy infiltrators, though, right?
5 heavy intercessors, yeah. So it's far too many points for you to afford in 2,000 points. But theoretically,
it's still cool. It's just like, so you would in that situation when you're taking wounds on that unit. It's the same as old Devastator squads when people run 10-man Devastator squads, or when people run 10-man Retributor squads for the Sisters of Battle. You're just like, they're ablative wounds, really.
Yeah.
Your heavy intercessors are ablative wounds for your Eradicators.
Absolutely. Also,
you can mix and match as well, which means you can always take the wounds on the least efficient target for that.
Yeah, you don't have to combat squad them in neat ways. You could do 2 heavy intercessors and 3 Eradicators, and 3 heavy intercessors and 2 Eradicators, or any mix and match in the 10 that you wanted to do.
That's pretty cool.
Taking bikers unlocks a strat where you can fall back and shoot. Taking jump pack units unlocks a strat where you can fall back and charge with the rest of the unit that you're in as well.
With the current lack of limitations on strategic reserves, this is very cool.
Yeah, not wrong.
They're really powerful, but my only concern with them, they're a funny army because they're really fluffy and really exciting. And yes, I know there are people who have made some really competitive lists, but what makes them exciting is that really complicated units with lots of different weapons and lots of different interesting things going on. But the cost in points for that racks up so high, so fast. It's a bit different at the moment because everything's suddenly become free. But before then, it's like, I'm going to have a unit with 1 power maul and a shield, and this guy's got a plasma cannon and a power fist, and you end up with like, this is such a cool looking unit, but it costs 300 points, and there's only 5 guys at firstborn.
Yeah,
and you can stack up, so you end up with this really tiny, very flexible, but also quite shit army. Because I've got 1 gun for every target. Yeah, but it's only 1.
There's also one more synergy I didn't mention, which is normally infantry are breaching, so they can move through ruins and walls, but bikes can't because they're not breaching. They have a special allowance in Deathwatch, which says bikers, if they're in a kill team unit with infantry, can go through walls as if they were breaching.
Oh, wow, okay. Cool.
Which is useful and fairly interesting. Next up, they have a pretty cool, tasty Relic Storm Shield that does not give you a 4+ invulnerable save, but it does give you a 6-inch aura of 5+ invulnerable save.
Could you take that on a character that has the Vox Spiritum or no?
You could take it on any character that has a Storm Shield.
Well, I guess what I'm asking, have they got the ability to...
Oh, no, it's a relic.
No, it's a relic.
No,
have they got a way running 2
relics? Yeah, Vox's relic. They
can
take
they got
2
a way
relics.
Stacking 2 relics on 1 guy.
Only in the same way as Blood Angels do. They're from that limited list of adamantium
limited list, which would be
master crafted, and so
and that's not on that.
Okay. I mean, it's still good, right?
Oh god, yeah. You can just have a lieutenant, 65 points, walking up a field, surrounded by dreadnoughts, surrounded by Deathwatch Redemptors, all of which have got 5+ invuns.
Yeah, it's great. It's basically a free Psychic Fortress, and I've been praising Psychic Fortress as one of the most important things that Marines can take at the moment.
Obviously, it's exceptional tasty with Armour of Contempt having gone the way of the dodo.
Yeah. Redemptors get huge value out of this. It's probably the best way to run Redemptors, actually.
Or if they wanted to take one of the Gravis kill teams full of aggressors and eradicators and heavy intercessors. Either way, it's really tasty. One of the stratagems they've got access to allows you to spend 2 CP to pick a unit for a turn, and they gain, from Codex Space Marines, any single chapter tactic or successor tactic of your choice for that whole turn. You want your unit to be a Blood Angel for a turn? Great. You want to be White Scars for a turn? Great. You want to be Space Horse for a turn? Great.
Does this only let you take ones from the core book or from any of the other books? It
explicitly says only from the core book.
So you can't use it to take some like Black Templars shenanigans or something for a turn?
They're in the core book.
You can use it to take
but
Black
not a lot of their
tactic.
clever rules.
Yeah. No. Only successor tactic or chapter tactic that is in the core book. I can see them both penning through now just to see what's interesting.
I mean, White Scars will be interesting because that gives you advance and charge, right?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to be in melee that turn, obviously we know what Blood Angels are capable of.
Yeah. Space Wolves, they can get some pretty nasty.
If you just want to stand there and shoot some things, take the Dark Angels one for a turn. And I've not even looked at the massive variety of successor ones that could be useful on a random turn-by-turn basis.
There's so much bookkeeping with this army. It is bonkers.
This is why there's a lot of stuff to be aware of in order to be able to use this highly flexible army to its best.
Now, I've borrowed this book. It's not mine. I've borrowed it from one of the people that probably will be watching this. And he plays Deathwatch pretty much exclusively. And every time I play him, he's like, oh, here's some more weird shenanigans.
I've never done before.
That I've never done before. And invariably, they fail magnificently because they're way too complicated. Because he's a real fluffy player, and he's like, I want every man in each unit to be completely different loadout. And do all this complicated, cool stuff, which looks amazing. And then he gets
may not work out.
Spanked by whatever. Less exciting, but potentially more conventional tactics.
Another stratagem they have access to, for 1 CP, you can choose any single infantry dreadnought or biker unit and deep strike it.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
And you can use that twice in a 2,000 point list.
That's an actual deep strike, not a strategic reserve, correct?
Proper deep strike, Anywhere
else. It's the same role as from Golden Light for Custodes.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That new Brutalis Dreadnought.
Yeah. Unit of 5 troops eradicators, all armed with heavy melter rifles, except that one guy's got a multi-melter.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's say we did. How does that work, right? Like if you had your 5 heavy intercessors and you added 5 eradicators to them.
Yep.
How would it be the same? Like you would need a minimum of 3 to take the multi-melta. I mean, how do the rule interactions?
Yeah, those minimums do still take place. Yes, that's right.
Okay, so if you had 8, you could have 3 eradicators, 2 with heavy melt rifles, 1 with a multi-melta, and then you could have 5 heavy intercessors, and that would be fine. And then I could put in 2 aggressors.
You could not then combat squad that because you need 10 to combat squad it. But
but could I fill up the last 2 with like 2 Inceptors or 2 aggressors and then combat squad?
Absolutely. Yeah, or an aggressor and an Inceptor, whatever mix and match you want to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then the Inceptor gives them the ability to use a strat that allows the squad that the Inceptor is in to fall back and charge, I think it is.
Yeah. Or become a White Scar and fall back and charge. Something.
Yeah. There you go. So many options. It's crazy.
That's cool.
The last piece of filth that I want to call out and highlight, again, this is not all the filth this codex is capable of. These are a few bits that I think you guys and John and Tony might be interested in learning, if they didn't already know. One of the psychic powers I got access to is called Severance. For Warp Charge 7 cast, 18-inch or no line of sight, your Psyker picks a target, and on a successful cast, they take 1 mortal wound, and their auras are reduced in range by 3 inches. Or, if your cast is, I think it's equal to or higher than their leadership, their auras are just off for the turn.
They're nullified. Wow, cool. It's really good.
It's got the usual sort of do some mortal wounds at range kind of powers as well, but that's.
I like armies really. Like this, where, like, realistically, if I wanted to pivot, not that I do want to pivot into Deathwatch, but if I wanted to pivot and make a Deathwatch list, it sounds like I wouldn't need to buy much. Maybe need to buy like a couple of named characters, or maybe need to buy like one veteran Deathwatch kill team. But, you know, all my aggressors, all my inceptors, all my eradicators, all my heavy intercessors, I mean, that's 500-600 points. That's all totally usable.
Yeah. If you were happy running them as red and your opponent was happy with that, yeah, cool.
Well, you can run them as red in any non-GW tournament, pretty much, right? It's only GW tournaments that are worried that like Deathwatch need to look like Deathwatch. I guess if you have some that had a Deathwatch shoulder pad, I don't know how you'd have to fight them on that, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got models in my army which are veterans with the odd Deathwatch shoulder pad in here and there because it's a sign of honor that they've been a member of the Deathwatch and they then come back and rejoin the chapter and their own units and squads again. It's just a cool thing to do.
Yeah, so I like this. I think it's cool. Everything you've said so far sounds interesting.
Have we got any looks at any of the units, Mark, coming up or not?
How do you mean? I've got a sample army next.
All right. So I was just looking because John mentioned sort of like named characters and stuff, and I'm just glancing through them now. And
yeah, go for it.
They don't look very good, if I'm honest. I don't know.
Yeah. That opinion is generally held in the research that I've done. They're very inflexible. They're fluffy. They're not really that great.
You know, this fella has got.
Who are we talking about? Sorry.
I'm looking at Artemis at the moment.
There's Captain Artemis, who was the guy who debuted in the Inquisition game in a bigger scale originally before they made a proper 40k model out of him. There's also a wicked model, really cool. It's a gorgeous model. It's really well done, scaled down. There's an Ultramarines chaplain called Cassius who served in the Deathwatch, and he's got his own special kill team as well, full of fixed named characters.
Which are really cool, and I can see really wicked, really narrative boarding action sort of games and that with these things could be so much fun. But I'm looking at them from a purely, are the rules any good? And
in the 2K game, nah. Not really.
No, not really. Is kind of the way I'll go with that.
I was going to say, are they needing?
The standard guy seems pretty good, but
are they needing a Primaris refresh?
They're too fixed. They're too fixed in who they are, what they can do, and their ability for an army based around flexibility.
You know, the main kind of combat-y one here. You've got Chaplain Cassius, who's a chaplain. Okay, he's a chaplain. He's got a +1 service inspiring on his leadership, on his role, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. But like their combat guys is watch Captain Artemis, which is fine. He's got a mastercrafted power sword. He's got 4 attacks, 5 wounds, but he's still toughness 4. He doesn't have a jump pack, and he's got a fancy flamer, which always wounds against things that aren't vehicles on a 2-up. But it's still only damage 1. No AP.
Yeah. But bear in mind, you can take every HQ in normal Codex Space Marines.
Yeah, so there's 2 things to say about that, though. Like, his Warlord trait on Artemis actually looks quite good. If you said that you could pick a battlefield roll, Mark, and get rerolls hits of 1, then...
Reroll wound rolls of 1, yep.
Was it hits you said earlier in the split? No, that's what you're doing army-wide.
It's wound rolls against battlefield roll, hit rolls of 1 against Xenos in melee.
I see. Okay, so is his Warlord trait not the same then? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, it means you can pick a different one. It means that you can give a unit the ability to get reroll ones
against a different
troops. Then you could say, actually, I want
another roll.
On one or whatever.
Okay, I mean that doesn't seem so bad. But Cassian's Warlord trait says that you can pick a core unit within 6, and you can perform an action and shoot. So if we did have that horrible Gravis kill team that we just talked about, being able to.
But you can do that with a strat anyway.
These Warlord traits you can put as a Warlord trait on any HQ you want to spend the CP for as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the generic one's all right, and I think, like you say, you can take ones from the core book. It's just the named ones to me seem a little disappointing.
What makes the generic one that good? Because he seems quite expensive.
I didn't say he's that good. I just said he seems pretty good. As in, like, he's all right. He's a captain. 4 attacks, 6 wounds. You can give him some funky weapons, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got access to the 2-handed thunder hammer of Neem. Yeah.
Even his fancy spear is quite fun.
Oh, the Watchmaster.
Yeah.
Their version of the chapter master. He can't take the hammer. He's fixed with his special
But he's got
spear
a
of
fancy
custodies. Yeah.
He's all right.
Good. He's very good.
So you said that they can't take chapter master upgrades, but what's their equivalent? Like what's
the Watchmaster? Is their equivalent. He is a guy in Codex Supplement Deathwatch. He's got a spear with a bolter on it like the Custodies do.
Yeah.
And he's got the Chapter Master ability to do reroll ones as an aura and reroll all hit rolls to one unit, designating the command phase and so on and so on.
Okay. So he's just quite cheap.
They don't have an upgrade. They don't have an
upgrade. It's just the Watchmaster.
It's just, a separate unit.
Their own version, which is reasonably much cheaper than the Space Marine equivalent of him. But he's less flexible at the same time.
Do you know what? That might actually be good with that new Arcs of Omen, where you can take two of the same character, because you can't take two Chapter Masters for Space Marines, but you could take two Watchmasters, right?
Yeah, you could, yeah.
Yeah, the limitation on here says your army can only include one Watchmaster. That's in the data sheet for the Watchmaster. So
sure, but that's the
strat allows you to break it. Yeah,
yeah.
Do you know the unit that I do like in this book? Because the kill things all that are wicked cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you can build some clever stuff.
Is it
generally, a lot of their uniques, yes, the plane.
I do like the
Corvus Blackstar is pretty good.
It's much better now. It's come down in points to a reasonable points cost.
It's a reasonable points cost now. It's a weird vehicle because it's actually physically really small, but it can hold a ridiculous transport capacity for this damn thing.
It's like 12, isn't it, or something?
12.
Yeah.
But you probably get about 4 people in it, like footprint wise. It's tiny, which is important because it means it's really, really small. You can fit
bikes in it as well if you want to.
Yeah, it carries bikes.
Costs like 3 models worth of space.
They've got a strap, which means that you can only shoot it if it's the closest thing to you.
It can take Marines, can take Terminators, it can take bikes, but it still can't take Primaris.
Yeah.
I think Centurions as well. Well.
Yeah. It's got a decent amount of firepower. The Blackstar rocket launchers, they're not amazing, but they're all right. 2d3 shots.
That's weird.
So that's 4d3, strength 5, damage 1, AP 1, blast weapons, which is a decent amount. So it's got a reasonable. You can give it some Storm Strike missiles, which are a little bit harder hitting. You can give it a Hurricane Bolter for a bit more fire, but you can give it a lot of guns.
And as Tony mentioned as well, it's got stealth tech, so there's a 2 CP strat that means you can't shoot at it for the turn unless it's the closest enemy unit.
So it can just hang about doing a lot of damage from shooting, or a reasonable amount from shooting. It's not all that expensive. It's got 14 wounds, which is pretty tasty. I think it's not awful as flyers go.
Yeah, I agree.
I blew one. I was playing against one of these, and it flew over to me. It hung about in the first turn, so I couldn't shoot it. Turn 2, it flew over to me. I know it's a bit different now because of Arcs of Omen. And then I could shoot it, and I needed to shoot it. And then I blew it up, and it rained horrible things on me.
And it's gone down to 150 points now, with
and it's
all the upgrades are free. Yeah,
it's not quite as hard hitting as like a Storm Raven, but it actually carries the same amount of stuff as a Storm Raven for 150 points.
Yeah, by the
50 points more than a bloody Impulsor.
Rhino or something. Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's not bad.
It's a good flying transport. And like I say, blowing one up so it rains heavy thunderhammers is not a fun time.
And how do you get the cluster? Or it just has the cluster launcher?
Over. Yeah, you just fly over and it bombs people. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can be quite tricky to kill with that strat, with its -1 to hit, with quite a lot of wounds for a 150 point model.
Yeah. I mean, it fills a similar role to me running Battle Predators at the moment, right? Like two twin assault cannons, 2 rocket launchers, which are arguably similar to the heavy bolters, 150 points. It's got
you
14
can choose
wounds.
to be in Devastated Doctrine on turn 2 when it comes down.
And you're -1 to hit, and if you fly over the enemy, you can do some mortals, and
you can do a very similar tactic than that what Mark's been talking about with the Storm Ravens for half the points. All right, it doesn't do as much damage, but you're still bringing all your really horrible combat units right up to them and saying, "Go on, blow me up," if you dares.
Yeah, you are indeed. All right, I like it.
I think they're all right.
I agree.
I don't know if they're good, but I think they're all right.
I'd run them. I'm honestly looking at getting one or two.
If I play Deathwatch, I would.
Now that I vaguely know what Deathwatch do, and I'm looking at digging them out of my cabinet again.
In this Arcs of Omen season,
well.
in the Arcs of Omen season, sorry, you can just run whatever the fuck you want. Like I'm this close to running 2 Ball Predators to a GT. Like this close. If I have 3 Ball Predators, I might actually run 3 Ball Predators to a GT.
Do it, mate.
I'm this close.
You'd get so much cool credit from all the cool kids.
If I win, that'll never get let down. Like
Reziel might even approve of you.
I was gonna say anyone
wouldn't go that far.
Anyone says anything about me, I'll be like, that's the guy that won a GT with Ball Predators.
Took 3 Ball Predators.
Ball Predators. They're like, what the fuck? Who knew?
What do these tanks do? I've not seen them in decades. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I was reading, it's a bit of a tangent, but I was reading The White Dwarf earlier that had the release of the Bile Predator in 3rd edition.
Wow.
So it was the 3rd edition new hybrid kit with the metal and plastic.
Yeah.
And the release of the Blood Angels Codex. Do you know how much the Blood Angels Codex was when it came out?
Was it
15 quid?
£9.99?
£4.
Bloody hell.
Hold on, is that Codex Angels of Death, or is that another one?
No. This is Codex Blood Angels, which was the 3rd edition Blood Angels Codex. Angels of Death was 2nd edition.
2nd edition. Unfortunately, this Angels of Death one, 2nd edition, doesn't have a price on the back.
I think they were £25, John.
Really? I mean, I missed the days when they had this in the back, though. Right?
It was a cool book, though, to be fair. Oh, yeah, that was always good.
I've got my copy here.
And you had to ring them up to place your mail orders as well. And
you used to call the trolls.
Yeah.
There's one. The mail order trolls.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just couldn't believe how cheap it was. The mainline codex was £15. So you had to buy the Space Marine Codex as well, like today, for £15. But the supplement codexes were £4 each. And I was just watching it, and they've got like sample army lists and stuff like that. And I was like, this is so cool. Dante's in there with his honor guard back before Sanguinary Guard were a thing.
Yeah,
Stupid rule that on a 1 you meant
they only appeared when the Sanguinor did. They appeared at the same time as the Sanguinor and Astaroth, didn't they?
Yeah. So for anyone that's in doubt, then this book says it was published in 1996, and that was Dante available for mail order. So he's I was going to say, so he's 27 years old now. If anyone cares. 27?
Right?
Yeah,
Fucking
96 to 2000. Yeah, 27.
Jesus. So, getting back on topic then. This is not a competitive army. This is just a potential way to get started with Deathwatch if you want to. In a fun way that might provide you a base of models to build on to take it up to 2K and have a laugh with as you go. And this is based on the Deathwatch Combat Patrol and a few extra units chucked in for the sake of rounding it out to 1,000 points. So to start with, you get a Primaris Lieutenant in the list, in the Combat Patrol. It's the guy who comes with a sword and a pistol. He doesn't come with a storm shield. But I'm just saying, fuck it. Model a storm shield onto him. You'll get one in some of your bits somewhere, I'm sure.
You'll have one
you can get a storm shield. But it's just to give you access to the Dominus Aegis relic, which is the aura of 5+ invulnerable save.
Yeah, cool.
And at 65 points, fucking brilliant.
That's a steal, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. You also get in the Combat Patrol box a Primaris Apothecary, so take him, and I've upgraded him to Chief Apothecary because I had the points left over at the end that I couldn't spend on anything else, like 40 points or so. And his aura with the Gravis troops that are in here is going to be very useful in the healing, I'm sure, because they're all troops. And they're all OBSEC.
Dumb question. The aura for losing wounds, is that actually an aura?
It is actually an aura and can be boosted via the Vox of Spiritum.
I was going to say, so you could take 1 CP Vox of Spiritum, and so you would have a 6-inch bubble of 5+, and you have a 6-inch bubble of 6+ Feel No Pain.
You absolutely would, yeah. That is a legitimate use.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
I spent 2 CP on this list, so you spend a third for that. Absolutely, no problem.
Cool.
You get 10 intercessors in the Combat Patrol box, so I've put them into a pair of basic kill teams and filled out one of those kill teams with 5 outriders. The prices at the bottom are full retail price.
Mm-hmm.
But let's face it, there are cheap-ass outriders on eBay because no fucker wants them. And if you wanted to get 5 outriders off somebody somewhere, I'm sure you could do so for a steal.
You could indeed, yes.
Likewise, in the second kill team, I put 5 Hellblasters in there. Again, they came free. Well, not free. They came cheap as part of the box set from, was it 8th edition?
It was, yeah. Dark Imperium.
Yeah, so you could probably pick those up on eBay if you wanted to. If you buy them retail, they come in a box of 10, so you'd have 5 spare Hellblasters left over. But 5 OBSEC Outriders, 5 OBSEC Hellblasters. Yeah, great, do it. The only downside that I want to just double back on quickly is the fact that the Lieutenant's buff is reroll 1s to wound, which sort of clashes and gets less value because of your chapter tactic of reroll 1s to wound against battlefield roll types, but it'll help against anything that you haven't chosen. The final unit is the Indomitor kill team, which is your Gravis kill team. You need to buy 5 heavy intercessors for it because they don't come in the box. You do get 3 aggressors in the box, so that's why they're in there. And I've chosen to round it out with a unit of 3 Eradicators because if you're playing Space Marines, you're playing Deathwatch, you almost certainly want some Eradicators. So that's what I've filled out that Gravis kill team with.
Are the aggressors in that box the proper ones, or are they the easy builds?
They are shown on the front as being Flamer aggressors, but I have it on reasonably good authority that you can build either them or the Boltstorm versions.
I don't think they put easy. I don't think they put the easy build ones in those.
Yeah, that's
well,
been
they do for Space Marines.
In
the Space Marine one's got the Vanguard.
Oh no, that's the only one they've done. The Vanguard one, the Phobos one. You're right.
Oh, yeah, that went, didn't it? And then it got replaced by the Start Collecting Space Marines, which is that old Start Collecting Vanguard Space Marines with a bonus Impulsor or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think like if you were the Dark Angels Combat Patrol, you're getting plasma.
I think that's the I know that one definitely does, but I don't know.
You get the Inceptors that can do both versions and all that jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say a few things about this list. One, that I love the fact that you've used the Combat Patrol for like 80% of the stuff, which is really cool. You could probably switch that guy out for a captain somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
then you wouldn't stack over the top of the auras, so you could probably do that.
Drop the Selfless Healer trait. Yeah. Then you can do
drop
that.
Selfless Healer. You could probably upgrade into that Shield Captain, not Shield Cap. We know what
to a regular captain with a Storm Shield. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you can do that.
I mean, you could always drop an Outrider or one single Hellblaster at that point and do the same. That might be better.
Exactly. Or change an Eradicator into an Aggressor to save another few points. Yeah.
But overall, I think this is the cool thing, actually, and I didn't realise that I could literally just walk out, buy the Codex Deathwatch, and I could fill this list tomorrow. Everything's painted, everything's done, all the units I already own, which is cool. I like armies that you can pivot like on this without breaking the bank. And this seems flexible and it seems fun, and the fact that it's going to be pretty much all OBSEC is also going to be really fun, because OBSEC wins games.
Yeah, everything in there is OBSEC except the 2 characters.
Exactly, yeah. So if you feel the 2 or 3 more kill teams... Yeah, sorry, man. Go.
I know it's not super important, but like the fact that it's all Primaris as well, that's going to appeal to some people because they like Primaris more than Firstborn, but also it is a bit of an elephant in the room, but it does future-proof it a little bit.
It does.
You're not going to be spending a lot of money on interesting Firstborn units, because with all the upgrades, you end up buying a lot of kits to condense down to just a few guys, because you need like this gun from this kit and this. You spend a lot of money on Firstborn, which could suddenly be legend, and then you're going to feel pretty bad.
And people are going to so I mean, people often ask about starting Primaris, so maybe we should cut this out and have a smaller video about how you could start an all Primaris force in one of the existing chapters. Well, even for Deathwatch, for you know, it's cool. I like it a lot. And yeah, I mean, I guess look at resellers as well now, because I guess prices are getting hiked today. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, we've been made aware of them today as we're recording this episode. It doesn't actually kick off until early March. But yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. We're not. I don't think we're going to talk about it anymore. But no, nobody likes it.
Yes, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it from me. That is my primer on getting started with Deathwatch. Ideas on what they're capable of, the sorts of things that they could bring to bear. There you go. I hope it's enlightened you a little.
It has indeed. I knew nothing, and now I feel like I know some things.
Yeah, Foz, thank you. I hope we've done you proud, mate. Obviously, it's not as in-depth and competitive as maybe you wanted. I have no idea, but cheers, dude.
Yeah, leave a comment, and we will do our best to answer.
Oh yeah, any combos, any special powers, any things that you think are must-take for Deathwatch that I've ignored or skipped over or aren't aware of any of that, do leave it in the comments, please. We want to educate as many people as we can with this stuff. It'd be absolutely brilliant to know your standout combos and go-to units and stuff for Deathwatch.
And we don't, we haven't done this historically all that much, but we can pin a comment. You can pick your favorite comment and pin it. So if you get a really good comment, we should probably say this in all our videos, we'll pin it, and you can be the pinned comment of the video. So whoever comes and sees the video will know that you know the Deathwatch better than us, and you will be the pinned comment.
There you go.
That's how we do it.
All right. Cheers.
There's a lot of scope for some cool conversions here as well, aren't there?
You're not wrong. Because they're all veterans, they can all be whatever sort of character you want them to be. Do you want to go and get your skateboard now?
I also just wanted to say I bought the Deathwatch upgrade sprue not long ago for my Blood Angels. Just after seeing the Angels of Death thing, the animation. And here you get like a pretty cool looking power sword. You get like 2 little Inquisition logos that I guess you could maybe stick on like a chest piece. You get 2 Terminator shoulder pads. So if you were buying like, there's a new rumor of a new Terminator kit. So if you wanted to make your own like Terminators with Deathwatch on them, this is actually like these upgrade sprues. I think they're like $6.99, $7.99. Blood Angels always need swords, so you get a sword. You get a couple of Deathwatch helmets. I put one on my Death Company as well, which I thought was cool because it's like the Death Company was in the Deathwatch and he's fallen all the way through. So yeah, I recommend this. I guess if you've got $5 to spare, it's cool.
Awesome.
Whose pile of glory is up first?
That would be yours, sir.
Yes, it's Roboto. Roboto Gillinaut.
Roboto Gillinaut.
Yes.
This is because you don't own a Gilliman model, isn't it?
100%, and I didn't really want to buy one, and I checked with the TO that this guy is valid because Gilliman stands about 3.5 inches high, this guy stands just over 4, so he's definitely he's modelled for disadvantage. You can see that I've cut off the right arm of the Custodes Dreadnought, and I have replaced it with a Firstborn Power Fist arm from the Chicken Dreadnought. And what you can't see on the behind of that is I've actually stuck on like a I don't even know what Stormbolter was. I think it was like a Stormbolter from a bike. So he's basically got all 3 weapons that Gilliman would have in that. He's got a big Power Claw fist thing. He's got a fancy bigger Stormbolter, and then he's got
a huge blade.
The Spear of the Emperor rather than the Sword of the Emperor, something like that. So he's got all the right weapons. So I ran him against Iron Hands last night, and I beat Iron Hands.
I mean, I don't think anybody knows where the Spear of the Emperor is at the moment, unless I'm sure some people have got some like lore knowledge that I don't.
Know there's a Spear of Sanguinius.
Well, that's the Spirit of the Telestan, whatever. But
yeah,
the Emperor made 2 spears, and he gave one of them to Valdor, and he gave one of them to Russ.
Oh, I never knew this.
And Valdor's one made him, when he killed someone with it, it made him relive all the good in their life and things that they'd done, which was like, because Valdor was OP bullshit. So the Emperor made him that. This is genuinely true, to try and keep his humanity. So he didn't just kill because he could. It was to make sure he thought about what he was killing. He didn't give a shit. And then he made the Sister Spear that he gave to Russ, which had kind of the opposite effect, like vindicating who he killed with it. Because it was like,
he wanted the Russ to be the executioner.
Did he take it to go and fight Horus when he was a silly twat and decided to go and
I've got no idea. He probably took it when he went and go and exterminated the 2 hidden chapters that nobody talks about.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where the 2 are, because Valdor just disappeared. I don't know if he took his spear with him, probably. But what happened to Russ's spear? Yeah, because they were forged by hand by the Emperor for the...
No idea. This is all news to me. I've got no idea about this
stuff.
So
there is a Spear of the Emperor, is what I was getting at.
All right.
So you could quite easily fluff in. He's got Russ's spear.
I'll write some fluff for him. Tell me, What dead marine should be at his feet? What colour?
Roboto Gillinaut, sorry. Yeah, I was going to ask what colour you're going to do that. You're going to paint some Iron Hands colours?
Dark Angels.
Dark Angels, yes, okay, that's it. I hadn't thought, I was trying to decide. Iron Hands or Dark Angels, both of those.
You've got space, stick an Eviscerator next to it, and that's Gabriel Seth.
Oh, God.
No. But I will make it an Iron Hand. I actually want to make it an Iron Hands just to piss Andrew off, so maybe that's what it'll be.
I could see that. That'd be a good call.
Yeah, that does mean Edge highlighting black, but I mean, it's needs must, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I've converted him. I've actually been painting a Firstborn Terminator chapter as well, or Terminator squad as well. And I also painted those Bile Predators. So it's basically like all the things that I didn't think would ever make it in my army list. I'm rushing to get 3 colours on them for a GT in like 3 weeks.
When is it?
First week in March. So I've got a little bit of time.
Yeah, you ain't got a lot of time, have you?
But I mean, technically he's already got 4 colours on him. He's got grey, black, red, blue, and white. So
if you ran him against me, I ain't giving you 10 points for a fully painted army.
I mean, at that point, the TO is getting called over and getting asked, "Is there 3 colours on him?" And I think the answer is yes. But
Tony, the painting gatekeeper. There we go.
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on.
Oh, cool, fair enough. I've not been doing a huge amount, mainly due to a bereavement in the family over the last week or so. But I have rearranged and reorganized my display cabinets so that the middle one is no longer whatever the fuck was in there. What was in there? A whole load of Drop Fleet Commander stuff that I've got rid of. And the bottom one is no longer Raven Guard, and it's now all my Eldar stuff down there in its unpainted glory. And I've put some lights on as well, some little sticky lights underneath to give it a bit of a glow.
How I know this sounds like a weird question, but how long did the batteries last in them?
Having installed them yesterday, I can't tell you.
Because I've got a cabinet that I use that doesn't have any lights in it, and I can't be fucked to drill holes in it and make lights in there.
So they're LED. Oh, for fuck's sake. So they're LEDs, and
that's Star Wars skateboard.
All right, that's slightly cool. So they're LEDs, and they're powered by 3 AAA batteries. So I imagine they're going to be fairly power low, and they'll last as long
as you remember to turn them off.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that city terrain. That looks wicked in the background there.
So that is from Drop Fleet Commander, which I've kept because I'm going to use it for my Adeptus Titanicus battles.
Is that your Blood Angels in front of them?
Yeah, that's my Blood Angels in the middle thing in front of them. On the top row is my one of every army display, and then some knights in the background, which are my Knights army, and then some armigers, which you can't quite see. I've moved the Raven Guard into the little glass cabinet off on the other side. You've got my Blood Bowl up there. You've got my Deathwatch in one set, and just piles of shit from things I've yet to fully decide what is going in the other ones. But yeah, I've not been doing a lot of actual hobby work, so I thought I'd show this off because I'm kind of proud of how it looks and how it feels.
Yeah, it looks so organised. I'm jealous.
I genuinely love that city with the Blood Angels in front of it.
Yeah.
Because of like scales and stuff. They're supposed to be bigger than a normal person anyway, and I think it kind of works. It makes them look really big. And
so you can pick up that set of their card buildings that I've just PVA glued into place and put some little card triangles to hold them out. You can pick that up for like 30 quid for all of those buildings if you really wanted to.
I like it. I think it's cool.
I'll drop you a link somewhere if you like. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, which is not a lot.
That's enough.
And there's mine, which I haven't done a lot either. If you've been paying attention to the streams, you'll see that I've been working on Wilhelm Chaney.
For any who don't know, Wilhelm Chaney is a werewolf goodest boy star player for the Necromantic Undead team for Blood Bowl.
So I'm trying to get out of that. I've been in for quite a while now, the last couple of years especially, like a real speed painting thing. A lot of the work that I do is for commissions, and they're all absolutely against the clock. So I tend to quote time I will spend to get an effect. So it's always quick. And then for my own stuff, I don't have much time either. So it's like quick. But I thought that I was a bit inspired by that painting class I won a little while ago to maybe slow down and take a bit of time over something. So I'm trying to get back into the habit of properly thinking through, not just using go quicker techniques, but actually painting properly. So there is Wilhelm Scheney, and I've been slowly properly painting him. So actually freehanding some stripes on his shirt and this sort of stuff, highlighting the stripes again rather than washing some oils and
how close to completion would you say you've got him? I don't know, just hand waviness.
Maybe
halfway. 2/3, half. Okay,
maybe halfway. I need to build some contrast into that fur because I'm not particularly happy with it. I've done no real detailing around the face. That needs doing. Basically, at the moment, I've blocked in all the bits. The non-metallics, you can't really see it in there, are pretty poor. I've not done a great job. It was kind of, I'm on the stream with John. I'm going to put some quick and dirty non-metallics in there to see how it's going to look, sort of thing. So I'm a fair old way away. And if I'm honest, I haven't painted any more. I mean, he's slightly further along, I think, than in that picture, but I don't know if it's going to come out. No, it's not. It's too dark. But yeah, he's a long old way from being finished. No, but it's such a cool model. He's worth spending the time on as well. So,
you ordering the Bruce Campbell now that he's available or soon to be available?
Absolutely. It's such a good Bryce the Slice. Yeah, I absolutely love that model.
In case you're not aware, John, there's a Ghost special star player for the Undead team as well, who's literally just being released now, called Bruce Campbell, or Bryce the Slice Campbell. He's got a fuck off massive chainsword.
Okay.
And the story is he's so excited about getting a chainsaw that he ran with it on the pitch, tripped over and cut his own head off.
Okay. So has he got a head?
No, yeah, but he's raised by a necromancer.
Ah, right, okay.
So he's now an on-fire skeleton with a chainsaw.
Okay.
So I think Ghost Rider with a giant chainsaw.
That's cool. And no bike. Fire. Yeah.
And no bike.
I was going to say he needs a sawn-off shotgun on the other hand now, doesn't he?
Yeah. So I just thought it's so cool. These star players cost a lot of money for how big they are. It's just a dude. And they're about
it's like 30 quid, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 21, but they're a lot of money for just a dude. So you spend your time on them, as it were.
Yeah, they don't sell many of them, so they're just going to make their money on individual models rather than volume.
Yeah. So yeah,
all right.
That's all I've been doing.
Yeah, and that's us for this episode, really. Unless there's anything else we want to talk about, like
I think we're there.
Yeah.
We can talk about the fact that we're going to be offering channel membership soon.
Yeah, we're in the process of doing those. You've got some icons ready to go and all this sort of stuff. As always, if you do want to support us and things that we do, please feel free to take a look at our Patreon. Throw us a few quid or bucks every month to keep us in shiny new books that you can request that we cover.
We have some great tiers of stuff. You can give us some money and we give you nothing in return.
You give us more money,
and
get exactly the same. Yeah,
nothing. No, that's not fair. So we do have a Patreon. It is just a way to support us. We don't offer loads of fancy stuff on there. We do listen. You will occasionally get. Sometimes our patrons might play some games with us. We play on stream, or if you've got a good idea, we listen to everybody's ideas. If you stick them down in the comments, that we do pay attention, but we give a bit more weight to our Patreons.
Give a lot more weight to the Patreons. Let's be fair.
I think we've done all of our Patreon requests apart from one, which is just a massive one that we haven't been able to do yet.
Which is Horus Heresy. Yeah.
Horus Heresy.
That's going to be a bit of a junky one.
But it's on the list. Mark's bought a copy of it.
Did you buy it? Did you?
It came from.
I picked a copy.
Okay, and that's because it came from our Patreon.
I picked a copy of the rulebook. Ultimately, we provide this stuff to be informational and to be a bit of a laugh. And if you value that, brilliant. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's it. We're not going to put loads of tiers because we don't want to gatekeep or put any pressure on it. You're also welcome to join us on the Discord. The link is normally in the description. And like John says, we're going to try and offer some memberships soon. But really, the best way you can help us is by commenting, by subscribing, by showing your friends, clicking the like button if you liked it, clicking the dislike button if you didn't like it. All the interaction helps, and we love hearing from you.
By playing some games, building some models, painting some models, and finding where the fun is for you in your hobby. That's
Absolutely. So on that note,
thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and leave us a comment.
All right.
See you on the next one. Cheers,
Ciao,
guys.
ciao.
Cheers. Bye-bye.